He married her because she was quiet. But the day she said, "Enough is enough," his whole world turned upside down. Life, they say, has a funny way of humbling even the proudest kings. Sit back, this story will shock and entertain you. Welcome to Shishi Fairytales. Mike was 37 years old and full of himself. He believed that women were created only to serve men. To him, women are nothing without men. He would proudly say, "A man is the head. A woman is the foot mat." One day, Mike said to himself, "I need a young, quiet girl. One I can control like a remote." And just like that, he met Grace. She was 20 years old. Sweet, soft-spoken, respectful, and very beautiful. The moment Mike saw her, he smiled and said in his mind, "This is the jackpot I've been waiting for." He dressed nicely, sprayed sweet perfume, and started acting like a gentle prince. He opened doors for her. He cooked for her. He washed her clothes. He even bought her small gifts like meat pie and ice cream. Grace was impressed. She said, "Wow, this man is different." Mike made her laugh, told her sweet words like, "I'll protect you. You're my queen. You're all I need." Before long, Grace fell in love. She saw him as a blessing from God. Fast forward. They got married. Grace wore a white gown, and Mike wore a black suit. Everyone danced. People sprayed money. It was a perfect wedding. But little did Grace know. She had just married a charming monster. 2 weeks after the wedding, something strange happened. One Tuesday morning, Grace woke up early and noticed Mike was still sleeping by 10 a.m. She touched him gently and said, "My husband. Are you okay? You usually wake up early for work." Mike stretched like a lion and smiled. He said, "My wife, I am very healthy. God created me well and complete." Grace smiled, feeling relieved. But in Mike's mind, he laughed and said, "I've won. I have finally caught my Mew Mew." From that moment, everything changed. Mike told Grace he lost his job. She felt sorry for him and promised to support him. But what she didn't know was, Mike had no plans to work again. Ever, he was ready to sit at home and be served like a king. And that was just the beginning. The next morning, Grace woke up early and prepared a hot breakfast for Mike. She served him with love and a soft smile. But instead of "thank you," Mike frowned and said, "Why is the tea not hot enough? And where is the meat in this egg?" Grace blinked, confused. "Sorry, my love. I thought you didn't want meat this morning." Mike hissed and stood up. "This is why women should never think for themselves. You better learn how to serve your husband well." That was how Mike started showing his true colors, one insult at a time. He now sat at home all day doing absolutely nothing. Grace started picking up cleaning jobs, washing people's clothes, sweeping houses, just to bring in money for food and bills. She would leave home before sunrise and come back tired, with back pain and sore feet. Yet, Mike would sit there like a king and shout, "What kind of wife comes home this late? No food. No welcome hug. Are you okay at all?" When Grace tried to explain, he would scream. When she cried, he would say, "Tears don't cook food. Get to the kitchen." At first, she thought maybe he was just stressed. Maybe he missed working. But after 3 months, Mike never looked for a job. Not even once. One day, Grace gently asked him, "Honey, don't you think it's time to try again? Maybe a new bakery, or..." Mike turned sharply and shouted, "Are you the man of the house? Who gave you permission to advise me? A woman's duty is to serve and keep quiet." Grace froze. That night, she cried silently, her tears soaking the pillow. "God, is this what marriage is supposed to feel like?" The next day, Mike left for a men's hangout with his friends. They were talking about their wives, complaining about how theirs were stubborn or too bold. Mike laughed loudly and said, "You people don't know anything. I married a small girl, quiet and obedient. She does everything. Cleans, cooks, works, gives me money. And still fears me." His friends clapped. "Mike, teach us the way." Mike smiled proudly. But what he didn't know was, Grace had stopped being blind, and she was already making plans. Grace was now living in a silent kind of pain, the kind that hides behind smiles and greetings. But that evening, after Mike returned from bragging to his friends about how perfect and obedient his wife was, something inside her snapped. She sat on the bed and whispered to herself, "I'm not a slave. I'm not weak. Something must change. Then she made a decision she had never made before. She would start watching Mike carefully. For one whole week, she acted like a fool. She obeyed him. She smiled. She kept quiet, but she listened, she observed, she waited. One afternoon, after she returned from work with swollen feet, she found Mike lying on the couch, snoring loudly, with crumbs of food around his mouth and a bottle of soda on his chest. Grace stared for a long time. So this is the king I am suffering for? She cleaned quietly, but her heart was boiling. The next morning, she gathered courage and asked, "Honey, are you not going to look for work?" "It's been 3 months now." Mike sat up slowly and hissed, "I am the man of the house. Who are you to tell me what to do? Women are nothing without men. Women exist to serve. Learn your position." Grace felt something in her chest break, but she didn't cry this time. She simply nodded and walked away. That evening, Mike went out again to meet his friends. Grace used the chance to pack her things, but something stopped her. She found a small wooden box in Mike's bag. Inside was a matching bangle, a matching necklace, and a picture of a young girl Grace couldn't forget. Her heart jumped. That girl, that necklace, that memory. Suddenly, Grace remembered something from 10 years ago, something she had pushed deep into her mind. She had seen Mike and his sister arguing in the bush. She hid and watched. She saw him push her. He panicked. He covered her with plantain leaves and ran away. Grace, as a child of 10, had taken the girl's necklace because it looked pretty. And now that same necklace was in her hand. Grace stood frozen. This man is worse than a monster. She dropped her bag. She wasn't leaving again. She was staying to turn the table. And her plan was about to begin. The next day began with fire. Grace woke up before sunrise, bathed, dressed, and marched straight out of the house without cooking anything. No tea, no bread, no warm water, no breakfast. Mike woke up at 10 a.m., stretched his lazy arms, and said, "Honey, where is my food?" Silence answered him. He checked the kitchen. Empty pot, empty plate, empty stove. Mike frowned so hard his forehead folded like a new bedsheet. So she now has the courage to leave this house without cooking. She's forgetting her place. He waited the whole day, stomach rumbling like angry thunder. By evening, hunger had turned him into a wild animal. He picked a long cane and stood outside the gate, gripping it like an angry school principal. When Grace finally walked in, tired but calm, he pointed the cane at her. "You. Come here now. I will teach you respect." Grace walked past him like he was an invisible mosquito. Mike swung the cane to hit her, but she dodged it smoothly. Then she said slowly, "Mike. What happened 10 years ago must never repeat itself." Mike froze. The cane fell from his hand. His mouth opened like a broken tap. What do you mean?" Grace didn't answer. She walked inside. Mike followed her, sweating. "Grace, talk. What do you know?" Grace turned sharply, her face cold. "I know everything. And if you lay your filthy hands on me again, I will call the police on you." Mike asked her, "What do you know?" Grace crossed her arms. "You think women are nothing. You think I am your slave. From today, you will serve me. And if you don't, I will show the police some documented proof I have for domestic abuse. That's not all. I also have one more proof from 10 years ago, but that will be a story for another day." Mike nodded like a robot. "Yes. I will serve you. Please don't call the police on me." And just like that, the table turned. The next morning, Mike woke before Grace and did everything: swept the compound, mopped the floors, scrubbed the bathroom, washed clothes, carried water, cleaned windows, bought food from the market. Grace sat like a queen, sipping tea. When Mike's friends visited and saw him washing plates, they almost fainted. One whispered, "Mike, is this apprenticeship or punishment?" Mike hissed quietly, "Call it whatever you like." Grace smiled. For the first time in months, she finally felt free. Mike's new job was now full-time houseboy. He cleaned, he mopped, he fetched water, he ironed clothes, he even washed Grace's undies with gentle care like it was part of a ritual. At first, he thought it was temporary, but as days turned to weeks, he realized, "I've become what I feared." His friends noticed the change quickly. One Saturday, they came to visit, 5 of them. Mike was in the backyard, wearing an old singlet, apron, and rubber slippers. He was sweating and pounding yam like his life depended on it. His friends peeped and screamed, "Mike? Are you pounding yam? For who?" He turned slowly, shame on his face. "Guys. It's nothing. Just helping my wife." They burst into laughter so loud, even mosquitoes paused to listen. "Mr. King of the house, what happened? We thought your wife was your maid, now you're the one cooking?" Mike wiped his face and said, "You people won't understand. Life has changed." One friend pulled out a phone to record. "This one must enter WhatsApp status. Mike the fearless lion is now a house cat." Later that evening, the video went viral in the neighborhood. Children sang songs, "Mike Day Wash, Mike Day Clean, Grace be Queen, Mike Day Scream." Mike could no longer walk freely. His pride was in a coma. But Grace? She was glowing. She now went to work in peace, came home to clean floors, her food was ready, her clothes were neat, her peace of mind was back. Yet, she didn't stop there. She began to educate herself, reading books, attending free online classes, and even listening to podcasts on women's empowerment. Meanwhile, Mike sat in the house like a confused lion in a zoo. One evening, he asked her gently, "Grace, can I sleep beside you tonight?" She looked at him with calm eyes and said, "Sleep beside me, or sleep with your guilt. Choose one." Mike sighed and went to the couch. He turned and faced the wall. His mind whispered, "Who and what did I marry? And why is she suddenly this powerful?" Mike had been quiet for days. The laughter from his friends still haunted him. He felt like the king of fools, but something else kept him up at night. The strange thing Grace said earlier, "Don't let what happened 10 years ago repeat itself." He had asked her what she meant. She didn't answer, she only smiled. That kind of smile that knows too much. Now, the silence in the house was louder than thunder. One evening, Grace returned from work and met Mike sitting like a lost puppy. His eyes begged for explanation. "Grace, what did you mean by what happened 10 years ago? What do you know?" Grace dropped her bag, walked into the room, and returned holding something. She placed it on the table, slowly. It was a necklace, a bangle, and a faded photo of a young girl. Mike froze, his legs shook. His throat dried. "Where did you get this?" he asked, voice trembling. Grace didn't blink. "From your sister. The one you killed." Mike fell to the floor, gasping. "Please. I can explain." "Don't," Grace interrupted. "I was 10 years old. I saw you. My mother sent me on an errand, but I stopped to play. That's when I saw you and your sister fighting. You hit her. You left her there, covered in leaves." Mike was sweating. His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. "I picked her bangle and necklace. I never forgot that face. Then I came to your house as a wife and saw your sister's photo on your wall. Same face. Same necklace. I knew." Mike knelt and begged like a man on trial. "Please, don't tell anyone. It was a mistake. I'm the only surviving son. If this gets out, my family name will be ruined." Grace leaned close. "Then listen carefully. If you want peace, respect me. If you want silence, change your ways. Starting tomorrow, I own the remote control in this house." Mike nodded like a schoolboy in trouble. That night, he swept the entire compound. Twice. But Grace wasn't done yet. Mike didn't sleep that night. Not because of fear, because of shame. The secret Grace revealed had pierced deep into his chest like a sharp broomstick. And now, Grace. She had become a woman on a mission. The next morning, she woke up early, not to cook, but to write a chore list. She stuck it on the fridge like a boss. Mop the floor. Wash the bathroom. Do the laundry. Go to the market. Clean the compound. She signed it at the bottom, signed, Her Royal Majesty, Grace. Mike came out of the room and saw the list. He blinked. He read it again. Then looked around the house, confused like someone who entered the wrong apartment. So, she meant it. She meant it. Grace handed him a broom with authority. "Start sweeping. We're already late." Mike wore an apron like a defeated soldier. He swept. He scrubbed. He fetched water. He went to the market. He even bargained for pepper like a professional houseboy. His friends saw him one day with a shopping basket. Mike? What's going on? They laughed. He smiled painfully. I'm undergoing training. They whispered, ah. This small girl don't break him head but Mike didn't care. He had learned something deeper than pride, because Grace wasn't just punishing him. She was rebuilding him. She cooked, while he cleaned, she worked, while he handled home chores. And guess what? Their home became peaceful. Mike even got a job again. A real one. He came back one day with flowers and said, "Thank you for not exposing me. You changed me." Grace smiled. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than shouting. 2 years later, they were happier than ever. No more shouting, no more beatings, just respect, teamwork, and peace. Moral lessons: a quiet woman is not a weak woman. Marriage is not slavery. It's partnership. Every king becomes humble when the right queen arrives. Never underestimate a woman with a good heart and a sharp memory. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, so you never miss a new upload from Shishi Fairy Tales. I love you all for the support, and I can't wait to share more amazing stories with you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and stay safe.